The stars blinked lazily above the sleepy town of Ashford, Oregon, like indifferent spectators at a theater that hadn't quite caught their interest yet. The kind of town where the most scandalous event was Mrs. Patterson's cat knocking over a garden gnome, or so the humans believed. Yet tonight, far beyond the city's flickering streetlights and muffled snores, something entirely unordinary unfolded. Virelli, a visitor from the distant spiral arms of a galaxy so far-flung it made your GPS scream in confusion, stood at the edge of the local bookstore's cluttered front steps, blending in with practiced ease. Her armor, slick, black, and designed to repel everything from microscopic toxins to an angry space rhino, was hidden beneath a long trench coat that smelled faintly of Earth's rain. Her ears, long and elegantly tapered, peeked out like the antennae of a sophisticated insect, twitching now and then in response to the faint hum of human life. Mission parameters were clear: observe, document, return. No interactions, no emotions, no coffee, certainly no smiling or, God forbid, laughing. That last directive was burned into her cortex like a warning light on an old Starship dashboard, persistent, annoying, and impossible to ignore once the circuits started overheating. Virelli hated the unpredictability of humans. They were chaotic, noisy, and liable to spill their drinks all over perfectly calibrated observation gear. Yet here she was, standing awkwardly in front of a sign that read, "Second-hand treasures and very questionable literature," contemplating the futility of it all. A clatter erupted behind her. She barely had time to adjust her hood before a battered paperback landed at her feet. "Sorry about that," said a voice, cheerful and rough, the kind that sounded like it had spent more time arguing with traffic than in polite society. "Didn't mean to drop Moby Dick on your foot. Though if you're going to get crushed by a book, might as well be a classic, right?" Virelli looked down at the book as if it might suddenly sprout legs and run away. No such luck. The man, Tom, she would later learn, had already started laughing at his own joke, an odd sound that seemed to loosen the very air around her. "I'm Tom," he said, offering a hand that looked rough but was surprisingly warm. "And you are?" The question was simple, but her answer was not. "Observer," she said instead, a title that sounded more like a job description than an introduction. Tom blinked, his smile widening. "That's one hell of a Tinder bio. Observer. What's your favorite pastime? Watching paint dry on Mars?" Virelli's lips twitched. Not a smile. No, that would be catastrophic. But a near approximation. A subtle shift in the muscles that humans called humor. "No," she replied. "Observing humans." "And how's that going for you?" "Complicated," Tom grinned. "Complicated is a great word for Earthlings. Welcome to the club. We have jackets and questionable coffee." He pulled the door open and motioned her inside. "You want to see the weirdest things people have left behind? I promise no space rhinos." She followed, the soft clink of her armor muffled beneath the worn wooden floorboards. Inside, the air smelled of old paper, dust, and something faintly sweet, like nostalgia trapped in a jar. Tom pulled out a rubber squid from beneath the counter. "This is our mascot," he said proudly. "His name is Squiddy, and he's never seen a day in the ocean." Virelli tilted her head, processing the absurdity. "A mascot?" Tom winked. "Every good store needs one. Squiddy brings luck, or at least scares away the really bad vibes." She reached out and touched the squid, feeling its rubbery texture against her gloved fingers. "Earth customs are unpredictable." "You're telling me," Tom laughed. "So why are you really here, Observer?" "Don't tell me it's just for the squid." Virelli hesitated. Her mission was observation, yes, but something else tugged at her circuits, something she couldn't name or analyze. "I seek understanding." Tom's expression softened. "Well, you're in the right place. Humans are a mess of contradictions. Like me. Can't fix a printer, but can bake a mean apple pie. What about you? What's your specialty?" "Analysis of emotional patterns." "Sounds fancy, like reading minds or hacking feelings?" Virelli allowed herself a slight smirk. "Not quite. More like decoding the chaos." Tom laughed again, and the sound was so genuine that for a moment, Virelli forgot about her orders, her mission, her endless spreadsheets of data to compile and upload. "Well, Observer," Tom said, I promise to be as chaotic as possible. But fair warning, I'm terrible at following instructions. She glanced at the clock on the wall, a relic ticking in defiance of digital time. Instructions are sometimes less important than moments. Tom raised an eyebrow. Look at you, dropping philosophical bombs like a space Buddha. Virelli considered the phrase. I am unfamiliar with Buddha. Tom grinned. Don't worry, you're already one of a kind. The bell over the door jingled as another customer wandered in, oblivious to the quiet disruption that had settled between the shelves. Virelli tucked the rubber squid under her arm and smiled. Just a little, because maybe, just maybe, there was more to this mission than protocols and reports. Maybe it was about finding those impossible, unscripted moments where the universe didn't know what to do next. And as the night deepened, she thought, maybe it was okay to be complicated. Tom's bookstore was a museum of oddities wrapped in paperbacks and bathed in a faint smell of dust and stubborn optimism. On Monday, it was the kingdom of forgotten sci-fi classics. On Tuesday, a fortress of romance novels with suspiciously dog-eared covers. And on Wednesday, well, nobody really knew what the heck happened on Wednesday, but Tom swore it was Trivia Night Apocalypse Edition. Virelli had never imagined that cataloging human culture could involve so much chaos, so much laughter, and so many awful puns. She had learned quickly that Tom's version of organization was an elaborate ritual involving piles that teetered on the edge of collapse and stacks of books that seemed to threaten a literary avalanche at any moment. The trick, Tom said once, is to know which stack is the danger zone and which is the I swear I'm done adding books here zone. Today, we're in the danger zone. Virelli crouched next to a leaning tower of paperback space operas, her fingers delicately tracing the titles. The human attachment to printed matter is surprising. Tom laughed as he pulled a volume from the chaos. Surprising? Wait till you see the price we pay for electricity. Some people hoard books like they're batteries for the soul. Me? I'm just trying to keep the lights on and the cats fed. That reminded Virelli of the cat. Crookshanks, a creature with a permanent scowl that suggested it knew exactly how little the universe cared about its feelings. The cat had taken an immediate dislike to her, or maybe it was just a general disdain for anything not made of fur or capable of dispensing snacks on command. She watched Crookshanks stalk by, tail flicking like a mini flag of rebellion. Tom shrugged. He's a critic, really. I swear he's running a feline Yelp for this place. Virelli smiled, well, the closest approximation of a smile she dared, and thought, critics. Maybe humans and cats weren't so different after all. Every morning she returned to the bookstore, her mind a strange cocktail of mission data and the peculiar warmth of human absurdity. Tom never asked about her past, her species, or the fleet that surely orbited some distant star. Instead, he offered small invitations to normalcy. Want some tea? Not the weird space kind. Ever try Earth peanut butter? It's sticky and confusing, but somehow addictive. You know, I don't trust any being who doesn't enjoy a bad pun or two. Virelli found herself laughing when he said things like, why don't scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything. The AI embedded in her helmet had recommended against this kind of humor as inefficient communication. She ignored the advice. Efficiency was overrated. One evening after the store had closed and the last customers had vanished into the dark, Tom pulled out a battered arcade machine with flickering neon lights and a name that made Virelli raise an eyebrow. Galactic Raccoon Rampage. I used to be good at this, Tom confessed, fingers dancing clumsily over the controls. Back in the day, before the raccoons started their rebellion, Virelli watched the pixelated raccoon dodge lasers and hurl cosmic garbage with more enthusiasm than skill. It seems chaotic. That's the point, Tom grinned. Chaos with rules. Like life, right? She tilted her head. You humans revel in chaos but fear unpredictability. Tom laughed so hard he almost knocked the joystick off. You've been taking notes, haven't you? Bet you have a whole report on my tragic joystick handling. Subjective data is sometimes the most valuable. Only if it comes with a good punchline, Tom said, eyes twinkling. Virelli had begun to notice the subtle changes in herself, The sharp edges of discipline were softening, replaced by something unquantifiable, an urge to linger, to listen, to be more than an observer. The nights when the stars above her home planet blinked like judgmental eyes felt a little less distant. One such night, Tom leaned against the counter, eyes reflecting the neon glow of the arcade machine. Ever wonder why people stare at the stars and dream? Varela considered this. They seek meaning. Or hope. She nodded. Hope is illogical. Maybe. But sometimes illogical things make the best stories. In that moment, something shifted. A tiny spark in the circuitry of her heart. A reminder that she was not just data and protocols, but something capable of wonder. The door chimed as a customer entered, breaking the reverie. Varela smiled, something real this time, and prepared to greet them. Because if she was going to learn about humans, she might as well start with their stories, and maybe, just maybe, laugh at their jokes along the way. Tom's idea of a date was like a badly programmed robot trying to be charming, clumsy, endearing, and occasionally glitching in the most delightful ways. Ever been to a drive-in movie theater? He asked, grinning like he'd just invented the concept of pizza again. Varela hesitated. Movies on a giant screen, under open sky. Watching humans gather in a communal ritual that involved a barrage of snacks and shouting at fictional characters? The very idea was an unpredictable variable her mission parameters hadn't prepared her for. Drive-in? She repeated. Explain. It's like ancient Earth meets modern laziness, Tom said. You park your car, watch a flick, and if the plot gets boring, you throw popcorn at the screen. It's very civilized. Varela was intrigued by this curious blend of high-tech screen projection and low-tech human behavior. Sounds inefficient, Tom laughed. Efficiency is overrated. It's about experience, connection, and yelling at bad acting. That night, Varela sat in the passenger seat of Tom's battered sedan, the window slightly cracked against the summer heat. She watched the horizon where the silver screen flickered to life, casting shadows across a crowd of people wrapped in blankets and clutching glowing cups. The film was The Day the Earth Stood Still, a classic tale of alien visitors and human folly. Varela found the irony delicious. Here she was, a real alien watching humans watch aliens, critiquing the cliches and cliches, critiquing her own existence. Tom passed her a bucket of popcorn. Careful, it's addictive. Like Earth's most dangerous drug, butter. She accepted the popcorn, fingers fumbling awkwardly with the kernels. This is a social ritual? More like a snack ritual with a side of existential dread, Tom replied. But it's good. Brings people together. As the movie played, a spaceship landed on the screen with dramatic music that would have sounded suspiciously overblown if it weren't so familiar. Varela's ears twitched. They overestimate human readiness for contact. Tom snorted. Yeah, we tend to mess things up. Remember that time you walked into my bookstore and froze like a malfunctioning android? Error. Unexpected human interaction detected, Varela said, voice flat but tinged with amusement. Diagnostic. Embarrassment. Exactly, Tom laughed. I like you, you know. You're the only alien who's admitted to being embarrassed and made it sound cool. Varela tilted her head. Embarrassment is inefficient. Maybe, but it's also very human. A sudden noise broke through, the unmistakable sound of a soda cup tipping over. Tom's quick reflexes saved the bucket of popcorn, but not his dignity. Great, he muttered. Earth gravity, 1G of unexpected mess. Varela smiled, her smile, if one dared call it that. Gravity is a constant. Humans are less so. The night unfolded with an easy rhythm, snacks, laughter, shared silences that spoke volumes. For once, Varela felt less like an observer behind a glass wall and more like a participant in the chaotic dance of life. After the movie ended, Tom looked at her with a grin. So, what did you think? Predictable, yet hopeful. That's the spirit, Tom said. Humans are messy, but we try, mostly to avoid complete disaster. Varela's ears flicked in agreement. Attempting to avoid disaster is logical, Tom chuckled. Glad to hear you say that. Maybe one day you'll bring your alien friends here. Show them how charming Earth's chaos can be. She considered the thought, then shook her head. They would find it confusing. And that's why they need a guide, Tom said, eyes twinkling. The night air was cool as they drove back, the stars blinking lazily above, reminding Varelli of home, of duty, distance, and the mission waiting in the dark. But now, under that canopy of infinite possibility, she found herself wondering if maybe, just maybe, there was more to her journey than observation. Maybe the chaos of humanity held secrets worth uncovering. And as Tom hummed a terrible tune about space raccoons, Varelli laughed. Not the clinical, data-driven sound she was programmed for, but a real, imperfect human laugh that echoed into the night. Tom's laugh echoed down the quiet street as Varelli wrestled with the antiquated Earth contraption known as a lawnmower. "You sure this is how you handle a machine of destruction?" she asked, her voice steady but curious. "Absolutely," Tom replied with mock confidence. "Push it, it makes noise, and the grass gets scared into submission. Or so I'm told." Varelli gave the mower a tentative shove. It sputtered, coughed like an old starship trying to start up after decades, then roared to life with a sound that could rival a spaceship's engine. She jumped back, eyes wide. "This primitive Earth technology is aggressive." Tom grinned. "It's a love-hate relationship. Mostly hate." They moved in an oddly synchronized dance, the mower churning through the overgrown lawn while Tom narrated its secret powers in a dramatic voice. "Behold the Grass Eater 3000, a beast feared across many yards. Legend says it's fueled by the tears of frustrated gardeners." Varelli chuckled, the sound a rare and precious thing in her world. "Legend? Humans seem fond of myth-making." "That's our version of history," Tom said, "with added drama and less truth." She glanced up at the sky, where satellites traced invisible paths, and the faint shimmer of a nearby space station blinked in orbit. Duty tugged at her consciousness, the data she was meant to gather, the mission reports that awaited transmission. Yet the moment held an unexpected softness, like a rare planetary alignment she hadn't anticipated. "Tom," she said cautiously, "why do you persist in these rituals?" He stopped the mower and wiped his brow with a sleeve. "Because it's the little things. The noise, the mess, the struggle. It's all proof we're alive, even if it's just against unruly grass." Varelli processed this, the concept of proof of life resonating deeper than any algorithm. Struggle as affirmation. "Exactly," Tom said, eyes sparkling. "You're catching on." Later, as they sat on the porch amid the smell of fresh-cut grass and Earth's peculiar nighttime chorus, Tom pulled out a strange device from his pocket, a handheld star chart, archaic yet lovingly annotated. "This," he said, "is how I find my way when the GPS gives up." Varelli leaned in, tracing constellations with her finger. "Humans navigate by stars." "Yep. Before satellites, we had to look up and trust the cosmos not to mess with us too much." She smiled, a real one this time, and tucked the star chart into her coat. "There is poetry in your unpredictability." Tom laughed. "And you're the muse. Think of the stories you'll tell your alien friends about this wild little planet." Her long ears twitched as she considered her path. The mission called for detachment, but here, in this small town with its flawed machines and louder hearts, she found something more elusive: connection. A flicker of movement caught her eye. A drone buzzing overhead, part of the interstellar monitoring network. A reminder that her watch was never truly over. But tonight she let the drone pass, its sensors oblivious to the quiet revolution happening in her heart. Tom nudged her gently. "Come on, observer. Time to face the chaos again." She nodded, ready to embrace the beautiful disorder that was humanity. Varelli stood at the edge of the small town's airstrip, her eyes fixed on the sleek shuttle waiting for her return to the stars. The mission had always been clear: observe, report, and remain detached. Yet now, as the engine thrummed softly beneath her boots, the weight of choice pressed heavier than any gravity she'd known. Tom appeared beside her, carrying 2 steaming cups of coffee, Earth-style. "You sure you're ready to leave the chaos behind?" he asked, voice light but searching. She accepted the cup, the warmth spreading through her fingers. I am no longer certain that chaos is to be left behind. He grinned. See, I told you Earth had its charm. Virelli smiled, a curve both alien and human, memories flashing, popcorn fights at the drive-in, lawnmower battles, late-night stargazing, and the quiet laughter shared over clumsy puns. Each moment a thread weaving her into this strange, unpredictable fabric of life. Her communicator beeped, a reminder of the fleet awaiting her final report. Duty called. The truth lay in those transmissions, but so did a secret, the raw, unquantifiable connection that had blossomed despite protocols and expectations. I've learned something, she said, voice steady. The mission is not just observation, but understanding. Not just data, but empathy. Tom raised an eyebrow. Deep for a gal who once called embarrassment inefficient. Embarrassment now feels necessary, he laughed. Welcome to the Human Club. Membership includes awkward moments and lots of coffee. Virelli glanced once more at the shuttle, then at the stars scattered like secrets above. I will return, not just as a scout, but as a participant, to learn, to connect, and perhaps to belong. Tom handed her a small battered book, the one she'd admired in his store, filled with human stories of hope and folly. For the journey, she nodded, heart pulsing with a new rhythm. Thank you, Tom, for teaching me that even the coldest heart can be warmed by a stranger's words. He smiled. Anytime, Queen of Chaos. As she stepped aboard the shuttle, Virelli felt the shift, a transformation not in form, but in spirit. The stars awaited, vast and infinite, but so did the possibilities of friendship, laughter, and unexpected beauty. And somewhere in the quiet vastness of space, a small part of her carried the simple truth that had touched her soul. You are beautiful.